We have to look at our own behaviors and ensure that we're behaving with the integrity that all of our mission statements would ascribe to our companies. Because those are great things to put on a piece of paper, but as people have pointed out this morning, under the pressures of the short-term earnings, performance standards, people sometimes deviate from that. So the first thing is, are we living up to our own standards? And I think then this next thing is, and this is really important, companies have to recognize that they must engage with their publics. And often, the advice that we're given, especially when things go wrong, is to hide. My agenda is really about restoring trust. I think it is the most important intangible asset that you can have in a pharmaceutical company. Let's think about it. What is the business of Merck? We ask people to willingly inject themselves with live viruses and to swallow dangerous chemicals, because we say if you do that, it'll be better for you. I can't think of a more consummate act of trust than that. So if we are not behaving in ways that people can believe that we are doing what we're doing with their best interest at heart, then they're not going to do the right thing by their health.
It's really easy to lead people where they want to go. Get them to go where they would not want to go by themselves is the essence of leadership. And there's clearly this huge trust deficit. It is our license to operate in America today. And I think there's two pieces to it that I think we still need to crack as a business community. One is acceptance, and the other is taking risk. And so I find most businesses, when something goes wrong, you kind of circle the wagons. The lawyers say, don't admit defeat. And the answer is no, you made a mistake. And acknowledge it and apologize to people for it.
I'm very fortunate to have a board that is very far-sighted. They understand that the nature of our business is that we invest in science. Science is unpredictable. It's not a straight line. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But over the long term, if we have invested in the pipeline and we've learned from our failures, we've always succeeded. And so I think one of the issues is the relationships that CEOs have with their boards and helping their boards understand what it is that they're trying to get accomplished over the long run.
And we saw that when we just said, too many kids are getting killed in Chicago. It's not right. We don't know if we can add anything to the table, but we're willing to go in and start. And we have found there are things we can add value.
The world has so many problems there that we sort of gravitate to those because they're areas where our special competence can be used. So Shelley mentioned our proposal or our action on maternal mortality. That's not a field that we are in. And the work that my researchers are doing is in a new area of medicine for them, but we feel that we can bring value to that area based on our internal expertise. Ebola is another area that Merck had not historically been researching in, but when we got calls from the WHO and others that there was an experimental vaccine in very early stages that needed to be accelerated and brought to market if possible, well, that's in our sweet spot. So we know how to bring vaccines to market. I think for us, we should focus where our special capabilities as a company allow us to have the greatest impact.
I think having a purpose-driven organization is a competitive advantage. I mean, that's why we're doing it. And it starts with your strategy, it goes through to your people, and then your operating practices. So I think for us, involving ourselves in charitable, nonprofit stuff became sort of what we did as opposed to who we are. And we're trying to morph into who we are. It's about language. So we have, we have thing, be a force for good. It's really simple. It's got 3 items. It's do the right thing, people before policies, and defy expectations. 3 things, everybody can remember 3 things. There's only 10 words or something in there. So I think part of the purpose-driven stuff is how do you take from, everyone's got a strategic vision, corporate vision, whatever. And then how do you translate that into day-to-day activity? So in 2010, the weather had gotten worse, and so our homeowner business went from making $1 billion to losing $1.5 billion, and the financial market crisis was still in full bloom. We had to fix the house. The trick for us was not to forget that we had to do this other part, which was still stay invested in the communities and stuff. And we didn't cut any of that. In fact, we leaned into it and did more.
Our leading indicator at Merck is, can we recruit the best and brightest from the top schools around the world? And part of what attracts them is that they know that we're working on complex issues that society needs us to solve. Cancer, Alzheimer's, resistant bacterial infections. If that's what you hang your sign up and say, if you come here, we're working on these things that society needs, you actually get a different subset of humanity coming in the door.